Shri Jayanta Umranikar. In the stage sitting with me is the founder of Dhyana Prabha, Dr. Bapat, the patron of this institution, Thakur Jitendra Singh, and Thakur Ramesh Singh. And I'm happy to say the distinguished way which this institution has been running, namely Thakur College of Science and Commerce, the principal, Dr. Chakravarti, respected citizens of Bombay, my favorite city, I can say. Not only it sent me to Lok Sabha twice, but it also gave me a wife. Today, why are we discussing a book which was written, according to me, in somewhere around 1500 BC, which means we are 2020 now, and 1500 is almost nearly more than 3,500 years ago. Indian history chronology has been completely twisted by the Europeans. They were very keen to somehow say that our civilization was after Christ was born. They tried very hard, but they could not ultimately contract the last 500 years because Alexander was supposed to come somewhere around 350 BC. And there's a Greek record of that where he describes an Indian civilization. The Greek historians who came with him, like Plutarch, they describe an Indian civilization. So therefore, they say the Indian civilization started with the coming of Alexander. There's no record in our writings, Puranas and so on, of any reference to Alexander. In fact, according to some sources, Alexander was beaten by the Mauryas, and then he went back and died of heart attack and suicide. He is supposed to have committed suicide on the way back in Persia. All this is not reflected in history. Our history is a history which describes defeat after defeat. It doesn't describe the fight we put up. Islam came to India and Gori was crowned the king or the Badshah in 1192 to be exact. And after that, butchery after butchery, invasion after invasion. If you see our history book, there will be a separate chapter for Babur, Humayun, then Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb. And what is the span of that? 150 years. The Vijayanagara Empire, which was started in Karnataka, went up to the borders of Bengal, covered more territory than the Mughals, lasted 300 years. Read a history book, there will be at most a paragraph that in South India there was something called the Vijayanagara Empire. The whole of Tamil Nadu and Kerala was ruled by the Cholas, the Pandyas, no reference whatsoever. Shivaji, for a long time he was run down. In fact, Jawaharlal Nehru called him a chicken thief. Some chicken he was. So, this demeaning continued. But look at this this continent, subcontinent of India. 800 years of Islamic rule and British rule, which is Christian rule, and you're still 80% Hindu. Why I say that's important? Islam invaded Iran. After conquering them in 15 years, they converted the whole 100% of Persia, which is now called Iran, into 100% Muslim. Neighboring country of Babylon and Mesopotamia, which is now combined called Iraq. 17 years they converted them into 100% Muslim. Egypt was converted in 21 years. Christians converted Europe in 50 years. But 800 years of Islam and Christianity could not convert more than 20% of India. Is it reflected in our history books? No. Chanakya is 1500 years ago. Or at least, in my opinion, 1500 plus 2000, that's 3500 years ago. The correct date would be 3500 years ago. Not taught in any school curriculum. He cannot be compared to Machiavelli. Machiavelli was immoral. Chanakya, or rather Kautilya, as is in this form as an author, he writes about morality all the way. He describes punishments. He's a democrat, unlike Machiavelli, who was a dictator. He says that defamation should not be a criminal offense. This is what Chanakya says. Because for speech you should not be put in jail. Today we have criminal prosecution for defamation. You can be put in jail for what you say. Not in the United States, not anymore in England, not anymore in many democratic countries, but in India even today, defamation is a criminal offense. But Chanakya says that 3500 years ago, it is your right to speak. If you defame somebody, you can be fined, but you cannot be sent to jail. So, Kautilya's Arthashastra is a governance volume in which economics is a part of it. He warned us 3500 years ago, never allow a foreigner to occupy a position in the government. Abdul Kalam and myself stopped one foreigner woman trying to become Prime Minister of India. This foreign woman coined the term Hindu terror. United Nations said that the Lashkar-e-Toiba is a terrorist organization which put a bomb in the Samjhauta Express. And what did this foreign woman say? She said, no, it was done by Hindu terror. And they put to one very honest officer of the military called Purohit and one Sadhavi, Pragya, in jail, tortured them and asked them to confess that Mohan Bhagwat was the one who ordered them to blow up the Samjhauta Express. So Chanakya was, at that time we knew. We didn't have foreigners in our country. The British created a history that we are Aryans and Dravidians. How did they get this? How did this word Dravidian come? I did research, I found Shankaracharya, Adi Shankara, had gone up, walking all the way to Kashmir, converting Buddhists to Hinduism by Shastra, which means by debate. He used to say, let's debate Hinduism or Buddhism. And if I win, you become Hindu. if you win, I become Buddhist. And he went on defeating people. And finally, he was passing through Bihar, and he met Mandara Mishra, the greatest exponent of Uttara school. And he said, challenge him to a debate. There was only one problem. Who will be the umpire? The greatest exponent of Buddhism and the greatest exponent of Hinduism? Who will be the umpire? So Shankaracharya told Mandara Mishra, your wife will be the umpire. And the debate went on for months. And in the end, the wife declared her husband as the loser, and both began to lose. So the first question the umpire asked the wife, who are you? He said, I'm Dravida Shishu. What do you mean by Dravida Shishu? Shishu we understand, child. Dravida, it says word, it's a sandhi of two words, tra and with, which means where the three coasts meet, where the three oceans meet. And that is the Bay of Bengal, Indian Ocean, and Arabian Sea. That is South India is Dravida. The British said no, it's a race, Dravida. And Arya, accomplished person, civilized person. The British said no, that's the race Aryan. They were in Europe, they came through Khyber Pass, the whole of India was Dravida, they beat the Dravida and drove them south, and they occupied the north. One political party was created by the British called the Dravida Karagam, of which now Karunanidhi is the president. I don't know whether he's still in his senses. I mean, I'm told he's a doctor. He never spoke sensibly, but he may not be in his senses now. Now, his son is named Stalin. It's not an Indian name. The name of a dictator in Russia. So, they have called it the Dravidian Party. And they say this is Dravida now. Now slowly they are melting because the new Hindutva that is coming over the whole country. So they are not speaking in those extreme terms. But they went to a very great extent. And ultimately they are being punished on a daily basis. I remember when I was arguing the Ram Setu case in Supreme Court, Karunanidhi said, who's Swamy to call this Ram Setu? This is Adam's Bridge. Did Ram build it? Was he an engineer? Which engineering college did he go to? But Rama took his revenge. Next day, Karunanidhi fell sick. And he was taken to hospital. And hospital's name was Ramchandra Medical Hospital. So I sent him a get well card. I said, are you sure he's got an MBBS or an MD? So this is when I have to find, I'm saying today why we have to revive these texts like Kautilya Arthashastra. Because we do not know our past. And therefore we have an inferiority complex. Anytime a white foreigner praises you, every day it is there in newspaper. Fitch says India is growing fast. IMF is saying India is growing fast. Next day, World Bank says, no, India is slowing down when everybody is sad. Who the hell are they? You got the Central Statistical Organization, you ask them, are we going fast or slow? But this is the inferiority complex. This inferiority complex has to overcome by rediscovering what is true. The Europeans, historians, the British historians cooked up everything. They said, what these people are worshipping Vedas to the Saraswati river. Where is Saraswati river? In fact, the references to Saraswati river are many more times than to Ganga in Veda. But where is Saraswati river? And sometime, about 20 years ago, satellites discovered Saraswati River exists, but it has gone underground. And now we have dug up Saraswati, and soon it will flow all the way through Gujarat to the Arabian Sea. Where is Dwarka? Krishna was living in Dwarka. Where is Dwarka? Now we find Dwarka is under the water, as the Puranas had said, that it had sunk into the water. We are going to pull it up and recreate Dwarka again. There are so many things in India. That was not our history. One woman's sari was pulled in the open court in Hastinapur. We had the Mahabharat war for it. One woman was kidnapped by a king of Lanka. Her husband went and declared war and destroyed him, killed him. And both women were fearless. When Hanuman went to Lanka and went to Ashok Vatika, he said to Sita, Rama is very unhappy. He is crying all the time for you. Why don't you just sit on my shoulder and I'll take you to Rama? She said, no. There are so many women who have been abducted here. I can't go. Rama must come here and kill Rama. Until that time I will not leave Ashok Vatika. That's what she said. People twist what Rama did when Sita was pregnant. He sent her to the forest. He didn't send her. If you read the correct Ramayana, you will know that when Rama brought Sita from Bihar to Ayodhya, he said, it is my duty, and this is our tradition, that as soon as the Bahu comes, that is my wife, who is now the daughter-in-law of the king, comes to our palace, I have to give her a prize, a present. My present to you is, I promise I will not look at another woman. You will be my only wife and there will be nobody else. So Sita replied, whenever I feel that there is something which might put a dark spot on your rule, I will leave to spare you this. And when she had come back and somebody raised the question about her relationship with Ravana, it was that insistence, it was Sita who insisted on going. And therefore she went to the forest. Rama did not send her. He never slept in the same bed again, slept on the floor. And when he sat on the throne, he had a statue of Sita made to sit next to him. These things are not told to you. The treatment of women, I tell my friends, you see, Brahma's cabinet, who got what portfolio? The important portfolio was defense, it went to Durga. Finance went to Lakshmi. Education went to Saraswati. So what did the male gods get? Information broadcasting to Narad Muni. Is there any other religion, culture which can boast of the role women have played? There have been scholars, there have been rishis, there have been warriors, like even Kaikeyi was a warrior in Persia. So all this is being told, you've been told to forget it. So we are making you remember it. And so that you become a new person. This is all about your mindset. If your mind is not properly formed with correct knowledge, you will always be a slave. For example, numbers, we are 120 million, 120 crore people. So what? What is your mindset? You can have 1,000 goats at one place and one tiger will come, all the goats will run. That is the mindset of the goat. Fear. Fear in itself. What is the use of being 1,000 goats when you can't even counter one tiger? Or you can be very strong. But if your mind is brainwashed, it is no use. In a circus, there will be 5 strong lions, very well fed. One thin ringmaster will walk in and he will tell the lions, get up. They will all climb up on the chair, on the bench. Then he will say, open your mouth. They will all open their mouth. He will put his head in each one of them and all the audience will clap. Why don't these lions eat him up? Tear him to pieces. Because the mind has been trained to obey. When people used to ask me, why is Dr. Manmohan Singh so afraid of Sonia Gandhi? I said, he may be Manmohan Singh, but he's a circus Singh. He's been trained to obey. So he obeys her. Even though he's Prime Minister and she's nothing. He can put her in jail in 5 minutes. But he didn't. But don't worry, I will do the work that Manmohan Singh is supposed to have done also. Kautilya Arthashastra is well before all the thinkers of Europe. People say Adam Smith was the father of economics. Nonsense. It is Chanakya, it is Kautilya. He describes how finances, how the accounts should be maintained. In fact, if you look at Arthashastra, it's grouped into 15 chapters. First 5 are called Tantra, which means administration of the state. Our guest of honor here today explained to you about spies. He goes into detail. When? 3,500 years ago. Similarly, the next 8 chapters deal with what he calls as Dwapa, which is relations with other states. And then 2, which are miscellaneous. Everything is there. It's the art of governance. It's not a book in economics, maybe called Arthashastra. And he starts with the moral principle that any action of yours must be structured 4 ways. First you try sama, try to persuade. Then dhana, give him a bribe. Then bheda, divide them. And finally danda. In the last you can use the danda. If the first 3 don't work, then you use the danda. Similarly, he talks about dharma as first. Then artha, wealth. Kama, pleasure. And then moksha. So you have to go through all these 4 stages. Towards the end, you retire and meditate on God. And this is, after that, it was, when was Kautilya's Arthashastra discovered? It was discovered by Professor Shama Shastri in 1905. And he managed to translate it by 1915. When I was a little boy, my father introduced to him. Very simple Sanskrit scholar. And he found it, how much ridicule there was when he said, this belongs to Kautilya, belongs to Chanakya. It is as old as 3,500 years. Most people didn't believe. But today, Kautilya Arthashastra is coming to it. And I'm so pleased that you are actually having a course on it. And it requires great detailed analysis for it. Kautilya had 2 principles which Deen Dayal Upadhyaya adopted. Swadeshi and Vikendrikaran. He said the country will be decentralized into 1,000 Janapadas. We will not be ruled by the center. But if there is war, everybody will participate. Mahabharat war in Kurukshetra, every king, 3,000 kings, came to Kurukshetra to fight. Except one, all of them chose sides. Someone went on that side, somebody came on this side. Of course, the bulk went to Kauravas. But Krishna was this side. So therefore the Pandavas won. But one king said, I will not participate in this war. That was the Travancore Kerala king. He said, two brothers are fighting. What is this? I will not take sides, but I'll cook for both sides. So he set up a big kitchen for both sides to eat, because our system was, don't start the fight till the sun rises, and when the sun sets, go back into your tambu, eat your dinner and go to sleep. Next morning, wake up, have a bath, and then go. That Muhammad Ghori did not know the first time he came. And so Prithviraj Chauhan finished him off. The second time, Jaichand told him. So he attacked at 3 a.m. in the morning when people were our soldiers were having a bath. And that's how he won the victory. So, I am saying this is the culture. Can you imagine a culture? No fighting in the city, no fighting in the villages, no fighting in the agricultural land, fighting in open Maidan only. Ramayana also was fought in the open Maidan. Rama did not enter the fortress at all. Ravan had to come out. And the open Maidan, the fighting took place. And when Lakshman was struck and it became sunset, both sides went to rest in their camps. Didn't fight. This was a cultured way we used to do the fighting if it became necessary. All this is described. And it has been a practice of our country. And that is why we were the richest country in the world. We are the most scientifically advanced country in the world. We are absolutely people who taught the world. We taught them decimal points. Otherwise, they had all these big Roman numerals, big size Roman numerals. We taught them decimals. We taught them digits. We taught them lipi. So we were the Vishwaguru. And somewhere we lost it, but we did not lose our country. Egypt lost its country. It's now an Islamic republic. Iran is an Islamic republic. But this country is still 80% Hindu. We don't call it Hindu Rashtra because we have got a constitution which says India, that is Bharat. But our Asmita, what is Asmita? Our identity. This country is one country or one Asmita. How do I know this? DNA studies. You conduct DNA studies. And you find all Indians from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, from Kutch to Dibrugarh, all Indians have the same DNA. Complexion may vary because of pigmentation. It's got nothing to do with race. If you are closer to the equator, you will be darker skinned than if you are up in the Himalayas. So people are same. Brahmins and Scheduled Castes, same DNA, no difference. You educate them equally, they will be equally good. Ambedkar was educated. His name was original, was not Ambedkar. His teacher's name was Ambedkar. This was told to me by the second wife after the first wife died, he married Savita Ben, who was with me, a Lok Sabha candidate in 1984. And she told me that her teacher was a Brahmin teacher by name Ambedkar. He said, you are a very bright boy, you must go to Columbia and study there economics, but there will be a lot of discrimination, so you take my name. So he became from Bhimrao Mahar, he became Bhimrao Ambedkar. And he went to Columbia, got a PhD, and then went to London, got a law degree, came to India, Sardar Patel gave him drafting committee chairmanship of the Constituent Assembly to write the Constitution. Did a first class job. But Congress never honored him. They today are attacking us, saying, oh, Ambedkar, we don't care for Ambedkar. But The Janata government in 1990 was the first government which gave Bharat Ratna to Ambedkar. It was not Congress government. Congress used to call Jawaharlal Nehru as Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Some Pandit he was. He went to Cambridge and failed. In fact, all Nehru family people have failed. Sonia Gandhi told a lie that I got a degree in English from Cambridge University. And when I went to Cambridge University to give a lecture, I said what kind of student she was. She said she was not a student here, she was a waitress in a restaurant. So I said, will you give me a letter? They gave me a letter. I came back, the speaker of the Lok Sabha was Manoj Joshi. So I told Balasaheb Thakur before going to meet him, please tell him to be a little strict.